How you guys doing today? It is me again. They call me Kraken, and I do run Liberty Woodworks. We are here with you today, sitting outside of my day job, right? And it's snowing out here. Yeah, it's snowing, man. And we ain't got no customers, and I don't expect that we're gonna get any. So taking a little bit of a break from work during my lunch, and there's been a couple things on my mind that I wanted to just kind of touch base with, and this is all opinion, right? And that's all it is. And my opinion's no better than anybody else's opinion, but I hope I can give you something to think about. So I've been going through YouTube videos. I've been watching YouTube videos since YouTube first came out, and I always search YouTube videos for some kind of inspiration. You know, there is so many things and so many ideas out there, and you know, sometimes I see things that I just think is pretty awesome, and you know, it could be about tools, it could be about woodworking projects, leatherworking projects, because I did leatherworking also. You know, it could be about, you know, how to run my business, how to better my business, so on, so on, and so on. I'm always watching for something. I'm always looking for something. And as much as possible, I try to support a lot of the YouTubers that are in the same fields as me, because I know, just like I am, they're struggling. They're trying to build their stuff up, and they're trying to get it going. So I always try to support them. And there's a lot of woodworkers out there. I'm not going to throw any names out there just now, right at this moment, but there's a lot of woodworkers out there that are going to give you ideas on making projects, and I know there's a ton of people out there that are trying to get into woodworking, you know, and so they jump in there and they really don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to do, and they're trying to figure it out. YouTube is this universal university, right? It's amazing. You can learn so many things on YouTube, and I used to joke around working on motorcycles and working on my car that I was YouTube certified, right? So you can become YouTube certified, right? You know, and there's so many talented creators out there that are sharing their tips, their tricks, their processes, that you don't necessarily have to go to a trade school anymore to learn woodworking. You don't have to take an apprenticeship to learn woodworking. You know, I mean, the information's there. You just have to find it. And so a lot of these guys are producing these videos, and they're saying, you know, build this and it's going to sell for X amount of money, or make 12,000% profit off of one 2x4, or turn one 2x4 into $800, or the ever popular make smalls that sell, and you know, and the guys that go and they search places like Etsy and all of that to find inspiration for builds that are selling, popular builds that, you know, people have a lot of in their carts, and I'm not going to say I have an issue with it. It serves a purpose, and it helps everybody try to figure out what it is that they're going to do next. My issue, I guess, is that they leave you with the expectation that if you build this one item, it's going to sell. It's absolutely going to sell, guaranteed, right? It's going to sell, and you're going to make a fortune. You know, you spend $5 in lumber, and you make, you know, $750 in profit. You know, and it's guaranteed. All you got to do is build this one item and throw it up for sale. And I want to try to throw something out there to bring people a little bit back down to earth a little bit, right? I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that these guys are not selling the stuff that they're selling for the price that they're saying that they're selling it for. That's not what I'm saying, and I'm not even going to argue the point. To me, I don't care if they sell it for that or not. It's not the issue. It's not the point. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they're just trying to get views. You know, maybe, you know, I don't know. I know that several of these people that I watch I don't know that I've really seen them build very much. I'm not saying they can't build. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that these projects that they're bringing out, that they're saying, hey, I found the X project, and and this is what you need to make in order to sell money. I don't know that they're even making them. They're describing how to sell them, and I guess some of them are actively making a few of the products. But I don't know if they're actually selling it for what they say they're selling it for. I mean, nobody really says what they actually sold it for. Very few of them ever do. So you get on sites like Etsy, and you see that on Etsy first let me say there's like, as of the last counting that I looked at, which was about a month ago, there was like 9.1 million users on Etsy. So let's just throw that out there right now. There's like 9.1 million users on Etsy as sellers. Not just users, but sellers. There's like 9.1 million sellers on Etsy. Now, not all those sellers are in woodworking. But in woodworking, I was watching a breakdown of it on Etsy, I guess about another month ago. And, or not on Etsy, but on YouTube. I was watching a guy that was breaking down Etsy on YouTube, and he was showing how many ads for certain things were out there. And for just general woodworking home decor alone, there was over, I want to say he said like 10,000 listings in just one category in home decor. Okay, and so the first thing I want to throw out there is that just on the Etsy market alone, and Etsy is the largest overall market for handcrafted goods in the United States, possibly in the world. And you're dealing with right off the bat on the low end 10,000 other listings. So when a person goes to Etsy and they look up something, I do a lot of charcuterie boards and a lot of cutting boards. So let's just use a charcuterie board as an example. Let's say somebody goes on Etsy and they search charcuterie board. They're going to get over 10,000 different options, and sometimes more than that. I mean, I've seen it come up with over 100,000 options. And your listing is only one of those 100,000, 10,000. Let's just say 10,000, because it's a lot closer to the low end. The chances of you getting seen on Etsy without having an established customer base and established clientele are very, very, very small. Very small. The chances of you being able to go out and take a dimensional lumber construction grade 2x4 from Home Depot or Lowe's, cut it down into something, whatever that something may be, slap some stain and spray a finish on it, and and put it up on Etsy for, we'll say $50. The chance of that actually getting seen and purchased is infinitely small. Okay. So the other options for selling are Marketplace on Facebook and Craigslist and eBay. Well, eBay is kind of the same thing as I ain't gonna say the same thing. It's kind of the same situation as Etsy, except eBay really isn't modeled towards handcrafted goods. eBay is kind of like the garage sale, right? The garage sale of the internet. That's where people go to buy used, items. And not all the case. For my cheese slicing boards, I buy my hardware for my cheese slicing boards off of eBay, and they're not used. So I mean, I'm just saying that when you think eBay, or when I think eBay, I'm thinking hard to find items that you can't find somewhere else. Then more than time it's used, refurbished, whatever. I buy a lot of car parts and a lot of motorcycle parts off eBay, because it's hard to find those motorcycle parts and car parts anywhere else. A lot of the vehicles that I work on are pretty old, and so most of those are 25, 30, 40 years old, and finding parts for them is kind of difficult. So the next thing is Facebook Marketplace. Well, Facebook Marketplace is the gutter of sales, right? Everybody's going on Facebook Marketplace to find deals, right? They're trying to find the cheapest thing they can find. It's other people's trash that they're trying to give away. And I buy a lot of stuff off Facebook Marketplace. I buy a lot of used tools off Marketplace. I bought my planer off Marketplace. I bought my router table off Marketplace. I bought not the router I have now, but the router I had before that, I bought off Marketplace. I've bought a bunch of stuff off Marketplace. I got a whole truckload full of free wood off Marketplace, right? Somebody had torn down a fence and they were getting rid of fence pickets, and I was wanting to use the fence pickets, so I got a whole truckload of it for free off Marketplace. And I've made sales on Marketplace. I've sold a lot of stuff on Marketplace, but most of the things that I've sold on Marketplace have a price point under $45, right? And so Christmas decor I sell on Marketplace. Halloween decor I sell on Marketplace. The cheap things that I make I sell on Marketplace. The expensive stuff, the high-end stuff that I make, the high-end cutting boards that I make, the charcuterie boards, the epoxy stuff that I do, the expensive stuff never sells on Marketplace. I list it on Marketplace and it sits there and sits there and sits there and sits there. And I'm a member of every buy, sell, trade group in a 50-mile radius of me. And I post it in as many of them as Facebook will allow me to post it. It never sells. It never sells there. Where I make most of my sales, or where I have made most of my sales from, is off my business page, my Facebook business page, and off of craft shows. That's where I make the majority of my sales at, right? I've just started a website. I've just got a website going, and I'm hoping that we can get some traction with that and we can get it going. I've started using YouTube just recently as part to help create a brand and as part to help promote my business and possibly help with my sales. I've started using Instagram for the same reason. And so there's a lot of things that I have going on that I'm trying to make sales with. But most of these things that you're going to see these guys make, turn a 2x4, make this out of 2x4s, make this out of a 2x6, make this out of fence pickets, all that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff's not going to sell. Right? And if it does sell, it's not going to sell for the massive profits that they're promising you that it's going to sell for. What those items are really, really good for is for you as a beginning woodworker to learn the basics of woodworking. For you to sit down and say, I'm going to make this, I'm going to learn how to make this, and you learn the basics of woodworking. You learn how to use your power tools. You learn how to use your miter saw. You learn how to use your table saw. You learn how to use your router table. You learn how to use a router, right? You learn how to use your flattening techniques, whatever that flattening technique might be, whether it is using a planer or whether it is using a router flattening jig or whatever the case may be. You're mastering these techniques on these items that they are putting out there for you to make and give them away as gifts. Give them away as gifts. They'll throw them up for sale. Maybe they'll sell. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they will. Every market is different. Every market everywhere in the world is different. The things that sell for me may not sell for you. The things that sell for one person on Etsy, you may not ever even get a view from you. It's about establishing a customer base and about establishing a brand, and it takes a very, very long time to get traction on Etsy. It's not something that you're going to throw up there overnight and make sales with, right? So you're going to have to be persistent. You're going to have to promote yourself. You have to get people out there looking at your stuff. You have to engage people in sharing your content. You have to get people to put the things that you've put up for sale and to show it to their friends. And the bottom line and the sad truth of it is that most people aren't going to do that. They may like you and they may like your stuff, right? They may think that you do an awesome job on the things that you make, but most of them aren't going to share it. They're just not. They're not going to share your website. They're not going to share your Facebook page. They're not going to share your listings, right? No, most of them aren't. You can ask them to, and maybe your people are different than my people, right? But most of them just simply aren't. They're going to go in there. They're going to like it. They might comment. A lot of them aren't going to comment because they're afraid you're going to try to sell it to them, and they like it, but they don't want to buy it. You know what I mean? So these are all things that you have to deal with. And so when you go on these YouTube videos and you see this guy saying, hey, how I turned a 2x4 into a $400,000 a month business and all this kind of stuff, it's not realistic. The claim could be true. I'm not saying the claim's not true. I'm just saying that it's not going to happen. More than likely, it's not going to happen for you. And you need to understand that before you get started, because woodworking is expensive. Woodworking costs a lot of money, right? And you need to be focused on learning how to do things the right way, because once you've learned how to do things the right way, you can take something made out of a 2x4 and you can take and you can modify that, you can change that, and you can make it into something even better, right? You can make it into something that people might actually stop and look at twice. As a consumer, right, I don't buy woodworking projects, period, because I can make my own woodworking projects. So I generally don't buy anything that's a woodworking project. But if I were to buy something that was a woodworking project, if I were to buy something made out of wood, I'm not going to make something that looks cheap. I'm not going to buy something that looks cheap. And the bottom line is that pine, fir, these things, you can make some nice things out of them. And I'm not trying to be too negative about it. You can make some nice things out of them, but they're never going to look as good as something that you made out of hardwood. They're never going to look as good as something you made out of a higher quality wood. They're always going to have that pine look to it. You know what I mean? And some people like that. Some people want that. The farmhouse deal, pine is a good deal for that, the whole farmhouse thing. But the whole farmhouse thing is kind of a secluded market. Not everybody's buying it. Not everybody wants it. Some people do, and if you can get in that market, get in that market. Only thing I want to caution you with is that these projects that don't buy into the hype. Don't buy into all the hype. Yes, they're nice projects. Yes, they're good to make. Yes, they're something that you should focus on. There's something that you should try to build, because every time you build it, you hone your technique a little bit more. When you make it, look at it, criticize it, find the problems in it, say, how can I fix that, make that better the next time I do it? And then do it again. Do it again and fix those things that don't look quite right, that look off. You've got brad nail holes all over the place. How can you fix that? Right? Well, you cover those brad nail holes with wood filler. You cover them with glue, and then you stain it. You still see the brad nail holes, right? You still see where they're at because they show up. So how do you fix that? What do you do to fix that? Should you stop using brad nails? Should you use a different way of putting things together? Maybe you should. But the thing is that as you build these things, the first time you learn how it goes together. You build it the second time, you fix the things that you didn't like the first time. You build it the third time, and you get a little bit better at it every time. So hone your skills on all those projects. Give them away. Sell them if you can, right? But always try to make it better. And as you build those things, and as you learn those techniques, and as you get comfortable and good with making the things that these guys are showing you, you'll start coming up with your own ideas, your own twist, your own variations of these things. And that's where you're going to make your money, right? We'll catch you guys later on. Like, share, subscribe. I need help building this channel up, and you guys are the ones that can help me do it. Thank you. Peace out.